Christina Pulver at Forza One Volleyball, and I'm sitting with assistant coach Jeff. Is it Fiorenza?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, awesome. At University of Texas at San Antonio. How are you today?
I'm pretty good. Actually up in Cincinnati right now, spending some time with my parents and brother and all that kind of stuff, just with some downtime. Hopefully, once we can start recruiting in June, I'll be able to be back in San Antonio. But until then, I'm going to spend some time here and just kind of hang out with them.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, almost could be anywhere right now,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Are you guys meeting with Zoom meetings with the team weekly, or what are you guys doing right now to stay in touch?
Yeah, so we're having weekly individual meetings with each of the girls just over phone. Sometimes Zoom if we want to do kind of like a chalk talk, film review type situation. And then we have weekly full team meetings. We're actually in the 2-week dead period right now, though, just surrounding finals. So it started last Friday, May 1st, and it goes through May 16th. So,
Okay.
and after that, we can kind of resume for another 2 weeks and then kind of into normal summer.
Yeah,
Um, on that to come, I guess. We don't really know what's going to happen
I
just
know.
since the situation is so, I guess it's unique. It's never
Day
happened
to
before.
day.
Nobody ever has experienced this. So,
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess that's why we got to just kind of keep being ready and rolling. And then I know we're all just so anticipating to hear what's going on with, I guess, end of club season, but then also, yeah, with report dates for fall. So we'll just
yeah,
keep hoping for the best. Um, and, uh, but prepare for kind of everything is kind of what we're taking our motto at
exactly.
Forza, right?
Exactly.
Well, let's take some time today to get to know you more and kind of the philosophy, coaching philosophy of your staff, and then just paint a picture of what it's like to be a student athlete at UTSA. So give us a little bit of your background and why you chose UTSA.
So I grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio. I had the opportunity to play club and high school ball since 7th grade. I know in California, that's more common than most other places, but for guys, I definitely got lucky. Ohio and Illinois, I would say, are really the only two states in the Midwest that are really like heavy boys volleyball.
Okay.
Like we have the opportunity to be able to play. But I was the kind of the annoying little brother. Like my brother started playing, so I wanted to do what he was doing. And I guess I took it a little bit further than he did. I started playing club. I went to the University of Kentucky for undergrad, played club there, practiced with the women's team all 4 years. And then just through that, I got into coaching. I actually started off in engineering. I didn't know I wanted to coach.
Okay.
And then after 2 years, I was like, I don't want to sit behind a desk all day and, be a kind of a nerd. But I decided I wanted to coach, so I switched to a business major, switched to management and marketing, something that'll pertain a little bit more to coaching. Obviously, marketing is basically we're marketing ourselves on a daily basis to recruits and other coaches and all that kind of fun stuff. But I coached a bunch of club when I was in college, and then I got the opportunity to volunteer at Kentucky, so I stayed there for another 2 years. And then after that, I kind of kept my options open, where I was going to go. And I ended up at UTSA. I've always loved the warm weather, so UTSA, and I wanted to live in a bigger city. So UTSA was kind of the perfect mix of the two.
So, okay, so yeah, let's talk about the weather compared to California. I see you have a lot of Texas girls on your roster, but you also have one Californian.
Yes.
So what we hear is it's kind of hot and humid. What do you
Yeah,
think?
so it's kind of weird. So like from like the 65 to like 85 temperature range, it's very humid. But anything more than like 85, so this is what I've experienced so
Okay.
far, because I've only been in San Antonio for like 2 months now.
Okay.
Um, is once it gets above 85, it's not humid anymore. So it's like it gets so hot that it just burns all the humidity off.
Yeah. Okay.
And I mean, it was 100, almost 100 there Monday and Tuesday this week. And I'm sitting in Cincinnati and it's 40 and raining right now. So I was like, kind of want to go back.
So what's the
But
town like in San Antonio?
can you say that again? I'm sorry.
What's the town like? The surrounding areas like around the campus?
It's very up and coming. So San Antonio in the past, I would say 10 to 15 years has really blown up. It used to be just kind of city center. There was 2 surrounding circle freeways, and it was basically farming country and all that kind of stuff. But now it's like there's shopping centers everywhere, and basically like construction crews can't keep up fast enough with like how fast neighborhoods are going up. And like these little 2-lane roads are having to expand into 4-lane roads even since I've moved there, so much has changed. But I mean, around campus, it's very Around campus, I would say it's very college-esque. I mean, there's a lot of restaurants, bars, that kind of movie theaters, all that kind of stuff. But unfortunately, with this coronavirus situation, I haven't really had the opportunity to explore because everything's been shut down.
Oh,
I know. So like all the fun things that I've heard about San Antonio, I haven't even had the experience to be able to go and do that yet. Um, so
seriously.
like, go ahead.
Yeah, so no, I think it's a really awesome opportunity for you. I mean, Laura, head coach, has been there for, she's going into her 18th season, has had a really successful career there and really established program. So, you coming on board, what have you, what have you heard about, I guess, her coaching philosophy and her style, and why does everyone like playing for her so much?
She loves to win. I mean, every coach kind of says that, but I truly believe that she wants to win, and she is very family oriented. Like she treats the girls on the team like they're her own kids. She holds them to a very high standard on and off the court. And with the background I had at Kentucky, it was almost the exact same way. And when I started having those conversations with Laura, I'm like, I would love to be able to coach here. And like you said, I think she's actually going into her 20th season here
Oh, wow.
at UTSA.
Okay.
Um, but I mean, like you said, she's established her career there. She's had the opportunity to move up, but she's like, you know what, this is my home. I love what I've built here and I want to see it through.
That's awesome. It's unique, I think, in this setting of volleyballs, colleges across the country, to find a staff that really we know she's not leaving. And
Hmm.
most of the time, I say to my different players, don't ever base a decision on the staff. But in this case, I really feel like we can, because she's established such a strong culture. Um,
Absolutely.
so you tell us a little bit about that culture. So it's a winning culture. In terms of like the student athlete, let's switch gears to talk about like the academic side of the culture she's created.
So she firmly believes, like, in our athletes, they are student athletes. They're students first, and she takes that to heart. And if someone's not performing in the classroom, she's going to sit down. She's going to have a conversation with them. She's like, all right, what's going on? What do we need to do? Do we need to get you an extra tutor? Do we need to, maybe get you a TA or something that can help you get through this class? Um, do we have to make mandatory study hours, like, hey, you have to be in the library for X amount of hours a week, or do you have to be in our academic center for X amount of hours a week to be able to fix your grades? And if a athlete doesn't make the expectations, then they're not going to play.
Yeah.
And she's very cut and dry, black and white with that, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah, no, me
So
too. So what are some of the like, are the girls on the team, are they all different majors? What is UTSA best known for? And then I guess the other part of that question is, are there any majors that Laura doesn't really like them to take as volleyball players?
no, she wants them to pursue their dream. So we have a just perfect example. We have an incoming student athlete in the fall who wants to be an engineer. She was coming to UTSA to be an engineer, and then she reached out to us. She was like, "Hey, can I walk on? Maybe get some money for it." That's great. But she knew she was coming to UTSA. She wanted to be an engineer, and volleyball kind of came with that. So I think, once again, kind of the student comes first. And if they want to pick a medical major, go for it. Go ahead. And she makes sure they know that it's not going to be easy. I mean, obviously being an athlete in college isn't easy. And then you add school on top of it. It's literally a full-time job.
Yeah.
I mean, we're allowed 20 hours a week with the girls at volleyball related activities.
Mhm.
And then you got to go to class, you got to study. It's 40, 50 hours a week every week plus travel.
Yeah.
So it's not easy. But she understands that if it's something that the athlete wants to do, she'll let them do it.
Yeah. Your conference is pretty spread out. What's the
Yes, that
travel
too.
schedule like?
It's crazy. I mean, we can really only bus to Rice and North Texas. I mean, Rice is 3 hours. North Texas is somewhere between 5 and 6. Um, but anything more than that is like, we're looking at like 8-hour bus rides and up. So we have to, and then we're kind of at the discretion of the airlines. If we have a late Friday night game and we can't get out till Saturday morning, that puts us in, say we go to Middle Tennessee and UAB, and then we don't even get into, Birmingham until Saturday afternoon. And that forces us to have a late practice, and we turn around and have a match the next either late morning, early afternoon. It's not easy.
Yeah.
I mean,
Part of it.
and you got to be able to adapt. You got to adapt to the circumstances day in and day out.
Hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely. And I thank God, like I know your academic, like the teachers, I think are known for working really well with the
Yes,
students
absolutely.
and being flexible. And, when those athletes arrive, get right in and tell their teachers, I am on the volleyball team and
Mhm.
let's work together. Um, so in terms of the weight room and strength training and, kind of the way injury prevention, talk to us about your facilities and how your athletic trainers work with the athletes.
So we only have one weight room. It has everything you could possibly need. It has all the machines. It has 25 like squat racks with all the fixins, like any like barbells, dumbbells, weights, and kettlebells, all of it. But we're actually building a new our athletic center. It's called the Race Facility Roadrunner Athletic Center of Excellence.
Okay.
And there's going to be a whole nother weight room. The athletic training, they're getting all new facilities, all that kind of
Oh,
stuff.
nice.
All our strength and conditioning coaches are going to be based out of there. Academics, I believe, is going in there, like for like the academic advisors for athletics are going in there. So it's just completely transforming everything and basically doubling the amount of strength and conditioning equipment we have. And then, I mean, our strength and conditioning staff is awesome. Alex, he works with us directly, and he only has one other sport. And then Gianna, she's our athletic trainer. She's the exact same way. She has us, and I think softball.
Okay.
So we're her only fall sport. We're priority number one
Yeah.
from August 1st and through the end of our season. And then whenever she's around, not traveling with softball in the spring, then she's in the weight room doing rehab at practice, all that kind of stuff in the spring with us.
Yeah, no, and that's huge. I think that's something that a lot of people just don't realize is sometimes you share athletic trainers, and the
Yeah.
fact that you have the dedicated one on staff at every practice,
Hmm.
there to tape you, there to notice if something doesn't seem right. That's really important with the way we're putting a toll on these kids' bodies, right?
Absolutely.
So in terms of, tell us what sports are big at UTSA, and at what sports teams do the volleyball players kind of intermingle with the most?
So I'm going to answer kind of the second question first. We had an athlete live with a couple soccer girls last year.
Okay.
So I would say that probably the women's soccer team the most. But one thing that is kind of unique about UTSA is our football program only started 9 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So like UTSA football is still relatively young compared to, I mean, most other schools have had football programs forever. I
Yeah.
mean, Army, Navy, Notre Dame, back in like the 1800s, they've had a football program. But UTSA as a whole, the 50th anniversary of its opening was last year in 2019. So even as a university, it's relatively young, and just athletics in general is still, it's very up and coming. A lot of stuff is changing. We're getting, better strength and conditioning staff, better athletic trainers. People are leaving big time programs to come to UTSA to take over. Our head strength and conditioning coach came from LSU as an assistant strength and conditioning coach. So he knows what he's talking about. He was around a big time program, and people are just filing in from all over the place to come here because it is so up and coming.
That's awesome.
Yes,
I love hearing that. And it's fun to be a part of and the program, the volleyball program is very well established, especially with Laura, and now you're coming on. But to hear that the university even is investing in athletics, that's what you're
absolutely.
right?
Yes.
What kind of mental health initiatives are a part of that?
So we have a sports psychologist that our team works with and all of athletics works with. I think once all this coronavirus stuff hit, it kind of, we kind of took a backseat because the sports psych guy was talking more to the spring sports, how do we manage this? What are we going to do?
Mhm.
And I guess that was towards the end of like basketball season. So the winter sports were still talking to him a little bit. But like during season, we meet with him once a week.
Okay.
Um, and I'm a firm believer in like the 90-10 rule. Sports is 90% mental, 10% physical. If you don't love what you're doing, you're not going to want to show up every day. You're not going to be where your feet are. And if your mind's somewhere else, then you're not going to give it your all.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I 100% agree. And in terms of what you've heard with, the program in terms of the one-on-one or open door policy, is Laura one of those people who likes to have regular ongoing meetings, or is she a little bit more hands off?
She would love to have those one-on-one meetings. If an athlete has a problem, a concern, whatever, come on in, let's talk about it. And she has given me the freedom already. I mean, I've been on staff for 2 months now, and she's already given me the freedom, like, talk to the athletes, do whatever you got to do. I trust you. She's trusted me with this interview to kind of tackle this on my own and really pump up UTSA. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. And so you've meant it sounds to me like I mean, just from the beginning, you said that she's very family oriented. And the girls, so does she prefer them to live together? In terms when they're not playing volleyball, what kind of bonding do they do as a team?
So this upcoming year, we have 2 houses with 4 girls each in it.
Cool.
One of them is all returners, and then one of them has 3 returners and a transfer. So like even like right from the beginning, the house with the one transfer, like they open their doors, open their arms, like, hey, come live with us. We have an extra bedroom. Come on. So they're very welcoming. And then as freshmen, they all live on campus. I think that's kind of a common theme everywhere. I think they have to.
Mhm.
And then we give them the option sophomore, if they want to live on campus, they can, if they feel like they need to for either academic purposes or just like, hey, I like living in the dorm. It's very simple. I don't have to really take care of anything. I just basically have to live. Um, and I think we have 2 sophomores actually living on campus again. They liked it and they feel like it's what's best for them as like I said, student first. And we've had those conversations. One of them was like, yeah, I think I might live off campus. And then she changed her mind. She's like, I'm definitely living on campus again. She just feels like it's best for her.
How close are the dorms to the athletic facility?
You can throw a rock and hit them.
Oh, really?
Oh
Okay.
yeah, not far at all. So I mean, everything's just kind of in one general area. It's as a campus as a whole, like I would say living and athletics are kind of on one side and then the academic stuff is on the other.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool.
But the football stadium is like 15, 20 minutes driving. It's kind of on the other side of the city.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like we were talking, I know Texas is huge, like California.
Yes.
But a lot of the kids are, from Texas. How does the California girl feel? And like, so one thing I've noticed is a lot more Californians are wanting to move out of state, and they're very interested in Texas. Texas, Austin, like it's definitely like an up and coming, I think, state as a whole. A lot of
Hmm.
Californians are transplanting there. How are girls different from different regions in your opinion? And are they welcoming to all different states? How's that?
Well, like you said, I mean, out of the girls we have on roster, the returners, we have nine returners, and 7 of them are from Texas. And out of the 7, 4 of them are from San Antonio. And then we have Houston and a couple of kids, Dallas area. Um, and they're very welcoming. I mean, especially, it's kind of like hey, they have a different background than me. So let's figure out how they were raised as a child, how they've grown up, and
Yeah.
then how can we like obviously welcome them into what we have around here.
Yeah.
So they get along better than almost any team I've ever worked with, I've ever seen, like on and off the court. And like our New Jersey kid, I've had more than I would say 6 or 8 phone calls with her, and she's like, I cannot wait to be back. Granted, because she's like New Jersey is in the center of all of the coronavirus stuff, and she's like she hasn't left her house in I think 2 months.
Oh man.
Yeah, so she's stuck, and she's just like, I have to get back to San Antonio. I miss my friends, I miss my family, and like obviously she loves her family up there, but she's like, these are the girls I want to spend all my time with.
Yeah. No. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. These poor kids. So in a given, like if this was typical, when would you have your freshmen report? Do they do summer school? What does that look like? And are you semester, quarter system? Tell us.
Semesters, but we have our athletes take summer classes. The freshmen would normally report June 1st, or for the first summer session, it kind of depends on
Okay.
when, like, because of the way our semester was set up this year, our finals are next week. No,
Oh,
they're this week. Our finals are this week. And it's later than normal.
okay.
So summer session doesn't start for like another extra week. So I think it's around the June 1st time period that
Okay.
our freshmen would normally report. And
Okay.
they take classes both summer sessions. There's 2 6-week sessions.
Okay.
But normally our returners, we would have them go home and then they could come back early if they want. And they'd have to pay for their own housing, all that kind of stuff
Yeah.
due to compliance purposes
Yeah.
for the first summer session. And then second summer session, they take classes, work out, all that kind of stuff. And that's usually the July through August
Yeah.
um,
And that's
kind
awesome
of
if
time
they
period.
can get a class out of the way.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
And it's
And
just one less class you have to take during the season.
exactly. And then over Christmas break, they get what, like almost a month off, correct?
Yeah, and it just kind of depends when the season ends.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the way Conference USA is set up, we end our conference season 2 weeks before Thanksgiving,
Okay.
have our conference tournament the week before Thanksgiving, and then all of Thanksgiving week is off.
Okay.
So this past season, we didn't make the NCAA tournament. We went to the NIBC. And that was that following week, kind of like the first round of the NCAA tournament.
Okay.
And then from that point, and when you lose or if you win the NIVC national championship, whatever that may be, do you have that until we usually start mid to late January.
Okay.
So we don't want to rush them back into it. We understand, like, spend some time at home. We don't make them come back early from Christmas break.
Yeah.
Because we have another 4 weeks with that, or another 4 months with them before they're really going to be able to go home again in May.
Yeah, exactly. So you spent a lot of time in the club world. Now you're in the college world. What do you think is the biggest difference between a club practice and a college practice?
The intensity.
Okay.
I mean, just from the athletes that you're competing with are as good, if not better than you. You're fighting for 6 spots. And when you play 1 or 2 matches a week, not 3, 4 matches in a day, like, there's less opportunity to play. So you have to work harder. You're going to be like, all right, I got to go beat this kid out so I can get on the court this week.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, if you're not playing, it's a lot harder to want to train and get better and all that kind of stuff. So it's just everyone feeds off of each other, and the intensity just builds and builds and builds because everyone wants to beat the player they're competing against.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. In terms of, so the intensity, I think the drills don't tend to, well, depending on the club, but like Forza One, we trained at a pretty high level. You know, the
Mm-hmm.
drills don't look that different. But would you say there's a lot, how much time is spent on like gameplay versus positional training? I know that depends on fall or spring, but in the season, let's say.
Yeah. So at Kentucky, so the way I was trained, kind of developed my coaching style was just like drill fundamentals. I mean, I would say a 2.5 hour practice, at least 2 hours, somewhere between 2 hours, 2 hours 15 was fundamentals, individuals, positionals,
Really?
type stuff. Oh yeah. And then maybe 15 to 30 minutes. 30 minutes was a long time to play.
Okay.
So it was like, in Craig Skinner, the head coach at Kentucky, like, he learned under John Cook, and at Nebraska, they do the exact same thing. They hardly ever play. So it's all fundamental based. And I've had these conversations with Laura. I mean, they play for somewhere between like 45 minutes to an hour
Okay.
of like gameplay type stuff, scouting, that type of situational volleyball related activities. But we've had those conversations, like, how can we kind of find a good blend of the two? So not to completely make a 180, hey, we're going to do all fundamentals now.
Yeah.
So definitely drill fundamentals, but then still get that gameplay type situation.
Sure. Okay, cool. So if you could put yourself back into like the high school person you were, is there any advice you'd give to better be prepared for the college scene?
I would say definitely take the little things seriously. So whether, like, just like even an off day. So say we had 4 practices a week, 2 matches, Sunday's our off day. Just going for a jog, going for a walk, doing something. Just something little that isn't going to make you take a step back. So I'm a firm believer in getting 1% better every day.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can get 1% better in either a mental aspect, a physical aspect, emotional, whatever that may be, then do that.
Right.
So even on an off day, you don't have to necessarily train your body physically, but if you can get better mentally, emotionally, then it'll help you on the court too.
I love it. That's awesome. You do seem older than you are.
Yeah. My mom's told me that for years.
Yeah. Well experienced.
Yeah.
Anything else about UTSA as an institution that you think, that players would choose you guys over someone else, or why would they? What are, maybe 3 things?
I would say for one, our athletic department, from top to bottom, Dr. Campos, she's our athletic director, all the way down, to our, janitorial staff. And like, anyone can talk to anybody at any time. I mean, you're just walking through the hallway, saying hi to everybody, just, even if it's just small talk, it just makes everyone feel welcome. And at the end of the day, and I told Laura this when I was on campus for my interview, it was like, everyone's fighting for the same thing, and it's for the student athletes. Like, everyone's on the same team. There's nobody like contradicting each other. Everyone is open, like we talked about earlier, open door policy. You can go talk to anybody at any time, voice your opinion, and if it benefits the student athlete, then there'll be a discussion about it. Yeah. So I really like that. I think that sets us apart, especially in a mid-major conference. I don't think it's always necessarily that way. I've had conversations with some of my fellow coaches, and that's just not the case at all. I mean, there's universities that it's just like it's all football, all men's basketball, all women's basketball, and then after that it's just like they're kind of like second tier. But I definitely think that UTSA wants the best for every single athlete that they have on campus.
So cool.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like an awesome place to be. I would love to visit. I've got some relatives out there going to TCU, so I
Okay.
promised I'd come out. How far is TCU from UTSA?
I think it's about 4 hours.
Okay.
Yeah. No, not at all. And like you said, Texas is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, I have friends in Texas that are 8 hours away driving, and it's like 8 hours away get in the Midwest gets you like 3 states away.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. How far is the airport?
10 minutes, not
Oh,
bad at all.
that's good. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
And
huge selling
that's
point.
another thing about UT or San Antonio is they really want to start building a bigger airport. It's
Okay.
San Antonio, the actual city itself, is now the 6th largest city in the country. And you wouldn't really expect that just because San Antonio isn't really talked about a lot.
Yeah.
But the airport doesn't really reflect its size. I mean, I was just there earlier this week, and there's like 16, 18 gates. It is nowhere near big enough for the size of the city. So it's in the plans for San Antonio to build an airport. I'm not really sure where in the city it's going to be located, but just to blow it up. I don't know if you've ever been to the Dallas airport, but
Yeah,
it's
totally.
massive.
Massive.
And I don't think they want to build it quite that scale because I don't think we have the land for it, but definitely want to get more air traffic, more tourism traffic, I guess,
Gotcha.
to get to the city and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, congratulations. And I just, pray you guys can all get back in there like all of us as quick as possible. But this has been great. Thank you so much for
Yes.
taking the time today. And we'll really look forward to showing our kids. You guys have some good virtual tours online, I'm assuming?
Yeah, so you can take a virtual tour of our entire campus.
Okay.
I'm not sure I know you can just go to utsa.edu, and I think it's fairly easy to access from there. And then you can take a virtual tour of the new athletic center that's being built as well.
Oh, cool.
I think it was just,
ready.
with kind of all this stuff going on, I'm not really sure. Originally it was 2021, but I don't know how the pandemic affected the construction crews. Obviously it slowed them down a little bit, but at the same time, like they've had less foot traffic on campus.
Yeah.
So I think maybe a balance of the two. But we were forced to work remotely starting mid-March. And so I haven't even been back to campus. I don't know what kind of progress that has been made. Cause like we tried to go and we got yelled at for going because Laura and I wanted to go and actually get work done.
Right.
But we were like, no, you can't do that.
Soon.
Yeah, soon. So hopefully June 1st we can get back and get some work done.
Yeah, right.
So,
that's a great
absolutely.
date. Let's hope it's that date. So,
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Jeff.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. It was nice to get to know you.
Yeah, you too.
All right. Have a good day.